What's up, guys? This is Ben with Peak Siding. Wanted to make a video here addressing a question that I get quite often in relation to a comparison between centipede grass as compared to other warm season varieties like Bermuda and Zoysia. Now I'm at a yard in Angier where the grand majority of the yard was planted originally by the builder with centipede. Now his backyard was really struggling. It was a combination of a variety of reasons, but especially because his backyard, it is relatively shaded, so that was a part of it. But the other part was just throughout the grand majority of his yard, the environment itself was really struggling because it was a high traffic. He's got a dog that runs around back here, but also just there was a lot of runoff and erosion and things like that, and centipede was not performing very well. So the important thing to be aware of here, though, when you're looking at a lawn like this is why would centipede struggle while Bermuda or Zoysia might be able to thrive? Zoysia specifically, that's what we're planting because of the shade issue, but even more so, it's because of the root structure of centipede. So when you look at the root structure of Bermuda or Zoysia, they both have a very deep root structure, meaning that, like, let's say I were to, like, if you're golfing, for example, when there's a divot that's cut in the golf from a club, it's very easy to spread sand over top of that. And what's going to naturally happen, because they're creeping grasses, is they're going to grow through it across laterally, but they're also going to grow from underneath it as well. Now with centipede, that is technically still true. Centipede is a creeping grass, but the problem with centipede is that its roots are only going to be growing about 2 inches underneath the soil, which is really limiting because it means that if there's like a divot, or maybe your dog does a hard cut and it tears out a chunk of that centipede, or maybe the centipede just is suffering for whatever reason, it's going to have a lot more trouble being able to repair itself. While it can repair itself, it can grow relatively quickly. It's only going to be able to grow laterally from both sides of that divot. It's not going to be able to grow from up underneath of that area because, again, its root system is very likely not going to be established well enough, especially compared to centipede Zoysia in Bermuda, where it's going to be able to perform nearly as well. Zoysia and Bermuda, on the other hand, it's very easy for those to recover. Zoysia is a little bit slower grower, so it'll still take its time, but it still is going to recover a lot more effectively than centipede would because of that deeper root structure. The same thing applies to erosion. If the soil washes away from centipede, it's going to suffer severely because there's really nothing at all for it to cling to. While with Zoysia and Bermuda, they both are going to be able to survive very, very nicely because of that deep root structure. It's all just held together really, really well. So I hope that answers your question. Again, there's a lot of other technical elements of it, like the preferences of soil quality. Centipede prefers a more acidic soil, while Zoysia and Bermuda can usually prefer a more balanced pH level. It's not as significant of a difference, but especially when you look at the root structure, it really does tell a lot as to why your centipede lawn might be suffering, especially if it's a high traffic lawn or if there's a lot of erosion, because it's purely that root structure. Simply, it just can't handle the amount of traffic and erosion and things that could be happening to it in comparison to those grasses that do have a much deeper and stronger root system. So anyways, hope that answers your question. Y'all have a great rest of your day.